Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hello and welcome to New Life Live. It's Becky Brown and we have a special show today. We are so excited. We are going to feature our incredible presenters for our Restore workshop, and that is Stacey Sadler and Mangin-McDonald. Welcome. We know that Restore makes such a difference in the lives of so many women, and yet it is a very difficult choice to make to seek help. Why don't each of you give just a 60-second overview of how betrayal impacted your life?
Yes. Well, I was married for 24 years, and it was full of a lot of hard stuff. And my marriage did not survive addiction, and it did not survive betrayal. And I thought that would be the death of me. I thought it would kill me because I really defined myself as a wife and mom. But eventually I got pretty pathetic and got kind of sick of that. And so I decided to seek real help, and finally made the turn, got into some groups and got into therapy, and started realizing that I could be empowered and make my life different. And so today I use all of that I learned to help others, and I'm thriving and doing well, trusting men again, trusting a man again, people that are worthy of trust, and moving forward.
That's awesome,
So,
Stacey.
Life's good today.
That's great. There's lots of hope.
There's
there.
life after betrayal.
There is
I think
life
that's
after.
what's important to
That's
know.
good.
There's life after betrayal, and I didn't think there would be. I thought I only could have one kind of life, and it was with him and with my kids. And God
sometimes
had a different picture.
and sometimes that's not even your choice.
No,
and in this
it was
situation,
not.
it wasn't your choice to have to have a new life, but you found one.
Yes.
Laura, how about you?
Oh gosh, we had 20 plus years and active in the church. We were in the middle of launching this huge group when he met his affair partner, right? And I would have argued with the world, Becky, that he never in a million years. I just said no way, right? But I did a setup, the flares for all my first responders, the pastors, my best friends. New Life saved me, and as I say, that you listened to me cry on the phone, right? But he got into Every Man's Battle. We went to Intimacy in Marriage, Emotional Freedom, and we have therapy is a lifestyle, recovery is a lifestyle. We've continued in that because it takes a lifetime to put it back together, but you can be full of hope while doing that.
Yes.
But you've got to do the work.
Yeah.
You can't just say I'm sorry and it's,
and isn't that usually the case? Is we want it to be over.
Yeah.
We
can't
Well,
move
sure.
on from what we don't move through.
And especially women that have been betrayed say, it's not my hard work. He did
Yeah.
it. It's his problem.
Right.
But the problem is it has affected
We were part
us.
of the blow up though.
Well,
We got
we're in
blown
the carnage.
up in the we
That's
had to
right.
put all of our pieces back together.
That's right.
And I think that's the challenge always with dealing with your own betrayal is that it's their choice, but you experience the pain.
That's
Yes.
right.
You didn't ask for this. This is not what you
All
had
the
in
toxic
mind.
stuff spews on us.
That's right.
And the
we've gotta
choice
go-
to heal is the empowering choice, is that I can come out of the rebel. I can come out of what happened to me because I have complete control over that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty powerful to see the healing process in place. And when you've been through it, you want that for each
Yes.
woman.
You
that-
do not
Yes.
have to settle.
Yeah.
Do not settle.
Yeah, and don't get stuck.
Yeah.
No.
It's so easy to get stuck because it's overwhelming. But there is a path and a process
Out of it.
and and there's hope.
That's right. And that's what we want for everybody, is to find that way out to freedom and
But
joy
it's
and
working
peace.
through that shame. That shame is just devastating.
Yeah,
it is.
And paralyzing.
Yes,
And that's
that's
why
right.
you need other people. You can't do it alone.
That's right. And that's why we're here today, because we're going to talk about this so that we can encourage you to
Yes.
seek the help you need. We'll be right back. We're going to talk to some folks, and it's going to make a difference.
Yeah.
I've been struggling with a porn addiction for the last 20 years.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. They're just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. The Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
I'm 10 years out. It's really changed my whole life with my whole family.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle workshop. Now the workshop is coming to Dallas March 5th to the 6th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com.
The tools that you guys gave me really has changed me essentially in every way. I'm just so much more of a man that God wanted me to be.
1-800-NEWLIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are so glad you joined us today. We are talking about the impact of betrayal and what it does to a family, to a woman's life. And I'm going to start this segment with talking to Gay, who's calling us from Delaware, and she watches us on YouTube, and you can as well. You can go there and see us. Gay, we're so glad you called today. What would you like to share with us today?
Well, I've been on hold, and I wrote out what I wanted to say.
Okay.
I want to thank Stacey and Laura for the ways that they have helped me in a new journey to heal from many years of betrayal. I attended the Restore Weekend several years ago in D.C. I did not have the same issues as many of the people that were there, but I found that Stacey's life was an encouragement to me. There is life after betrayal, is what you say.
That's right.
I've been blessed. I've been blessed by being in sustained healing with Laura. Recovery is a lifestyle, and I am so thankful for the resources that New Life has provided me. I even increased my Club New Life donation this year.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
I want to tell ladies who have any type of betrayal, you cannot afford to live another day without attending Restore workshop.
It's wonderful, Gay. How hard was it for you when you made the decision to go to Restore?
Oh, it was awful. And I just told people that I was going on a women's weekend to deal with losses. And I had lots of losses in my life. I had lost my best friend; she had died. I had lost a home that I loved. That was my getaway place. It was like a little cabin in the mountains, and I sold it, and so I had no place to get away and retreat. And then the loss of the marriage that I thought was the perfect marriage, and it wasn't. After 30 years, I had to accept that I chose not to live that way anymore, and that my focus was going to be on me and my own journey and my own life. And I am 75 years old.
Awesome.
So,
Gay, what would you say? You said something really profound. You said my issues weren't the same as so many of the other women there, and so many women say, "Oh, but." I'm different from everybody else. But you said that courageous statement. What would you say to someone who said my story's different, that's wanting to attend?
All of our stories are different.
That's good.
But the pain of betrayal is the same.
Ooh. That's right.
Look at Jesus. Jesus. I mean, like he was betrayed in the ultimate way.
Yes,
that's right.
And every time I think about myself and my betrayal, all I have to do is compare what Jesus did. And so I always find Good Friday is more meaningful to me than Easter Sunday, because that was the day that ultimately he was betrayed.
Yeah.
And he died for me.
And he didn't let betrayal define him.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
and neither has
No.
she.
and neither have you.
We are so
That's
glad,
right.
Gay,
No.
that you have decided to have a new life. And we know that it is a process and a path. You know, we talk to women all the time about how difficult it is to make the decision to go seek help. And just like Gay tried to describe it in a way that it wasn't really about the betrayal, and yet it was about the losses. And betrayal is about loss. And it's
But
about
shame tried to bind her, didn't it?
Yes.
But she kept pushing forward.
That's right. Well, I want you guys to hear a conversation that Steve and I had with a woman who decided to go to the workshop, and I think it'll encourage our listeners as well.
Diane, we're talking to her right now, and you're very loving and wonderful, full of life and full of laughter. But I just want to mention this, not to be Dougie Downer, but you have had a few things in life that weren't so fun or pleasant.
Absolutely, yes. Hmm.
And what are we talking about?
I found out that I was being betrayed for most of my married life.
Oh, my goodness. What was the first, when you found that out, what was your first reaction? Was it, oh, I got to call Cynthia, or what was it? Do you remember?
Absolute shock. Absolute shock. He was the last person on earth that anybody would have thought could have had that secret.
How many years ago was that?
The first time I found out about anything was 2002, I believe.
Okay. All right.
I found out about a long affair.
Long time ago, because just seeing you guys at this stage in your life and him, I mean, you would never, just from the outside, you'd never know that. But
So then what did you do?
We immediately that night went to called our pastor and met him and his wife at the church. And had a conversation with them, and went home and tried to repair it on our own. Started some counseling. Thought we were going along okay. Never thought it would ever happen again, and it did.
Well, that must have been a double nightmare, huh?
Yeah. So it was early 2013. I found out about another one. By that time, it was 2 strikes, you're out. So I immediately made him leave and called a lawyer.
Yeah. We're doing this special show today, to help women who have experienced that same thing make a choice to do something about it. How long did it take you? So there was like a 10-year period of time that you thought that things were going to be okay, and then you get devastation number 2. You go to the lawyer, you're deciding, okay, this is it. 2 strikes, you're out. At what point, Diane, did you go, you know what, I might need to have some more help than just going to a counselor or just going to the lawyer for that matter?
Well, I was seeing a counselor during that time just to, try to work through it, work through being alone and that kind of thing. So it was, we were separated for 1 full year when I kept feeling, this doesn't feel right. And so I just prayed and prayed what I felt was God's will. And I came across Every Man's Battle. I had Every Man's Battle and Every Man's Marriage in my car for a couple of weeks. Right. And I was going to bring it to him at his apartment. I didn't know when, but I left the books.
Awesome.
And so he read Every Man's Battle. He read Every Man's Marriage. And he said when he read the books, he kept thinking, boy, this is me. And he ended up going to Every Man's Battle, I believe, in beginning of January 2014. And boy, he came back from that telling me things that I'd been waiting 30 years to hear.
Really?
So, Diane, when you decided that you needed to go to the workshop yourself, not Every Man's Battle, but Restore, what made that your decision? And, what would you say to encourage somebody who might be just contemplating that same step?
I went because my husband said, this would probably really be good for you. And plus I saw this transformation in him. So I thought, sure, I'll go. I need all the help I can get. And, I thought, this is going to really help me, forgive him and figure out how to put our marriage back together. But it did something quite different. There was no one who understood what I was going through because they've not experienced it. I felt like it was my fault. I felt like I was being judged by people for my what I call normal, abnormal behavior. And I found 100 other women who were going through the same thing. I realized that I wasn't crazy. So many things.
Isn't that incredible?
It's powerful. Powerful.
Yeah. Like, they don't know what to expect when they walk in the doors. It's scary to walk in those doors. When they first walk in, oh my gosh, the faces are just so sad and so full of angst. And then what happens on Sunday?
Oh, it's like a whole new group of women.
Transformation.
It is a true transformation.
Yeah, so, when you think about, like, what Diane's talking about, like, she felt like no one could understand.
Yeah.
Like, there is no way that anybody was going through what she was going through. And, many women feel alone in this process. They feel ashamed to share what is going on. Yeah. And, you pray all the time, hoping that something's going to happen. But what she did, Laura, is
she took action.
And yes, she did. She called the first responders, like you said.
She initiated a separation. And sometimes separation is the very best thing for a marriage because, when those books finally got in his hands, he was kind of like, I hadn't had her for a year, and he felt the emptiness. And
but her first round, though, you saw she did what happens to a lot of people. First of all, well-meaning people go, now you just work on this and you do that. Right. Don't be give her the list of how to help him.
Well, it reminds me of, I say this all the time, that, the house is on fire and a bucket's not going to work. Okay. No. So we need to do something drastic.
The big guns.
Yeah.
Big guns.
And he decided that he would go to every man's battle once he did that. And then what I loved about it is he has begun his own work and then said, you know what, you need to go to restore. Yeah. This could help you.
So when they go through the practical application of the steps to work on their inward parts, right? The healing started to happen, and you've got to do that in group.
And in Restore, unlike a lot of seminars or conferences, we've got teaching sessions, which both of you will lead, but then we break out into smaller groups that are led by a therapist who knows what this experience is like.
That's right.
And, you guys have both led those groups. What is that like for the women that are in the groups?
So
powerful.
Unbelievably powerful. I tell them in the beginning, you're going to look around the room. Y'all are all different shapes, sizes, colors, ages, and you will walk out of here loving each other.
Yes.
And I can say that with confidence because they do.
Right.
They care. At the end of the day, the pain is still the same, and they feel the pain of each other's pain, and they come alongside. And what they've never said before, some of them have never told their story, and there is a lot of healing that comes in telling your trauma story.
That's right.
Because we don't even know what we're believing until it comes out of our mouth.
So true.
And it's such a safe place because we need to be seen, known, and understood, right? And when we can just take that courage and that risk to open up, and it makes Hebrews come alive. I think it's Hebrews 13 that says, I am with you always. That the love of Jesus is transferred
into the other women in the group.
Yes, that's how we transfer that, to get rooted and grounded in love. It's so powerful to know we're not alone.
Our hurt and our pain and the betrayal will put up our defenses.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It's actually a good thing, right?
Yes.
Protecting yourself.
It's a protection that makes sense.
To guard your heart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the challenge of seeking help runs into that defensive shield.
Sure.
So what would you guys say to somebody who this is their story? They haven't talked to anybody. They don't know what to do. They're feeling that defense, like, how is a group, how is a workshop going to make any difference in this mess that I'm experiencing right now?
I just think surrender. I mean, you've just got to surrender because it's the next right step. You don't have to figure it out. So much it's going to be, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? We greet them with a hug when they're walking in and their lips are quivering. And it's like, you don't have to have anything figured out.
No.
You're going to figure it out.
It's impossible to figure anything out.
That's right. As you do it, it's just going to unfold. And so I would say all the things you think it's going to be, don't do that because it is so much different and so much better than you think it's going to be. It might be a little painful.
Yeah.
I promise you'll
Might
shed
be.
some tears.
Yeah.
But you need to shed some tears.
Yeah.
I promise you might get angry, and maybe you need to get angry.
Right. You know, one of the things that Gay talked about was the sustained healing program. And, you know, we talk about sustained healing is that ongoing coaching that occurs following the workshop. And
Yeah.
Laura, what difference does that make?
Oh, it's a life changer, right? I always say good friends are the good tread on our tires, right?
Yeah.
They get us to where we need to be when we can open up and let other sisters stand with us. No judgment, accept where you are, but then encourage you where you need to be. That there's no shame in saying where I've been, what I feel. When we're totally accepted, then we're positioned to move forward.
Yeah.
And it's God's promise.
Yeah, you know, we talk about sustained healing, and so many women have participated. I did a group for years, and it was very powerful. Not only just to observe the shift in their thinking, but the healing process that goes with the ongoing support. We're going to be right back and continue this conversation after.
My husband was involved with a pornography addiction. He was unfaithful. I called the wedding off. He stepped out on the marriage and ended up having a child.
The Restore Workshop is designed for a woman dealing with a man's sexual addiction issues.
My husband is a recovering sex addict. There were strip clubs, other ladies.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Workshop will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Southern California February 25th to the 27th. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go online to newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are doing a special show today on the topic of betrayal and recovery. And it's all centered around what we do at our Restore Workshop for women. You hear us talk about it all the time, and I think it's the big mystery about what does that even mean and how does that even affect me? I may recognize that betrayal is part of my story, but why should I go to a workshop when I wasn't the one that did it? And, you know, you guys, you hear this. Like, how many times have you had those conversations with women who you can see that they need to go to Restore, but then they put up their objections? And so what do you say to somebody who might have those objections? We're going to talk a little bit about the topics, but what would you say somebody who's heard us talk about Restore, betrayal is part of their story, but they still haven't made the call?
Oh, my goodness. You know, there's something I say, and it can sound a little harsh, so just let this soak in slowly, right? That we didn't cause it, but it's our responsibility to heal it, okay? You know, we're going to be stuck in that pain, and it's going to identify us, define us, until we are able to get with some sisters, open up our heart, deal with the trauma neurologically, physically, relationally, spiritually, in every aspect. All of those wounds can be opened up in a safe place because we cannot heal alone. We need community.
It's so true. Stacey, what would you say?
Well, healing is scary. So we hear a lot of excuses like, I'm too busy, it's his problem. why should I be there? Or, the world's going to fall apart if I'm not there. The kids have got to go to all these things. And one thing that a lot of very efficient women try to do is just keep going with their life.
Yeah.
Kids have soccer practice, and kids have lessons, and kids have this, and kids have that. And we forget about ourselves. And what happens is, hey, you're the captain of that ship. If you've got a husband that's either not in recovery or busy recovering, the onus is on you to be as healthy as you can be.
Right.
And that is something that you can control. And if you take good care of yourself, the old oxygen mask on yourself first,
yes,
then your kids are going to feel it. Your family's going to feel it if you're the one getting healthy. And so I say, to all those excuses, you're worth it.
Yeah.
Invest in yourself. I know it costs money, but guess what? There's scholarships if you have an issue with that.
To make a
Call
way.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. Find the way to get to the workshop, because God will work miracles once you're there, and will work miracles to get you there.
That's right.
Well, and I want to add one thing, is that it would be like if I were to break my leg, but I can't go to the hospital because I got to get my kids to soccer practice.
And there are people that are saying that.
Oh,
right?
For sure.
But it's something because we can't visually touch the trauma, even though we physically feel it.
Right.
We somehow justify that can wait. I've got to take care of my kids.
Right.
It's a form of denial, don't you think?
Oh,
Laura?
absolutely.
And thank you, God, for denial, because sometimes
It
denial
has a purpose.
gives us a break for what we cannot handle.
Exactly.
We're not prepared to handle.
Right.
Well, and I was thinking about too, the women who are so far into denial, they're numbing out because the pain, they stayed too long in the pain, and now they can't even think. And we talk about women who stay in marriages where this continues to go on, and they feel as though I have no choice, I cannot do anything but just endure. And, or the big God hates divorce thing. And, that's, God doesn't like this either.
Right.
So, there's all of those kind of messages that we have to overcome when we need help. Some of the things that we talk about at the workshop are, triggers and boundaries, dealing with your feelings, forgiveness. Now, here's the thing about forgiveness. We tend to think forgiveness and then we're done. Okay, I forgave him and now I'm done.
No.
And we do it quickly because it somehow moves us from the place of action, which is crazy making, but it's what we do. We also forgive and forget. And we heard earlier from Diane's call, there was step one, where she discovered the first time, and then there was another one. And so there wasn't a learning process going on.
That's right.
We'll also talk about gaslighting, rebuilding trust, self-care, marriage after betrayal, and unhealthy coping skills and healthy coping skills and disclosure. So, just in a couple minutes, if you guys want to talk about any of those topics that we're going to, just to give a little bit of a thumbnail of what they're going to expect.
Well, I'll be talking about boundary misconceptions. Boundaries are something that are often misunderstood. And so, it's not about control. It's about helping you feel safe. And we'll teach you how to state a boundary and how to learn how to follow through, and maybe what some barriers are to following through. So that's just one of the topics we'll talk about.
The thing about boundaries, which I love when you do this talk, because here's the thing about boundaries. We think that when we set a boundary, the other person's going to be so happy about that.
Oh gosh. And I say expect them to rebel.
Right.
Expect them to react. And you don't have to react back. But you got to learn how not to react back.
That's right.
And in my case, I thought that if I set the boundary, he would instantly obey.
Yeah.
But guess what?
He
did it.
Yeah.
He ran the other
Boundaries
way.
aren't about the other person. They're about saying who we are, what we will or will not tolerate. And oftentimes they think boundaries, I'll set this so you have to do this. It doesn't work that way.
Well, and Laura, you're going to talk about, marriage afterwards.
Oh,
and,
yes.
And what does that look like? Rebuilding that marriage after betrayal.
Goodness. It's an ongoing building of trust. And it's, I always say there's no expiration date on questions. That there's always, the door is always open. That safety is there. I can come and tell you where I am, and that will be accepted. There's no shame to, aren't you over that yet? Or I've done this, right? That puts the shame back on me.
Yeah. And you said that recovery is a lifetime.
Yeah, recovery's a lifestyle. A lot
And
of
people
times,
don't like that.
No, but it's, hey, look, if we're breathing, we have issues.
That's right. Amen, sister.
Right?
That's
I
right.
mean, we need to be working on it.
That's right.
Until I see Jesus. Once I get something else, then something else is going to come on deck.
That's right.
And
That's
I'm going to be
right.
working on it.
And the gratitude that you have for the closeness that you have in your marriage because you have this openness.
You know, I would have never have signed up for this, but I wouldn't trade this safety for nothing.
I'm 433 pounds.
How long have you weighed that much?
I've probably been over 300 at least 15, 20 years.
Does this sound like your story? It doesn't have to. The weight we carry on the outside is often a result of the burdens we carry on the inside. If you want to reduce your inner burden, New Life's Lose It for Life Extensive can help. The Extensive features a one-day Zoom session presented by Steve Arterburn on Saturday, March 19th, plus 5 weeks of aftercare that include a weekly group session led by your credentialed New Life Network counselor, 5 on-demand training sessions from Steve Arterburn and fitness expert Michelle Spadafora, 3 30-minute private coaching sessions from a nutrition and fitness coach, the Lose It for Life book and workbook, and exercise gear to allow you to start a home fitness routine you'll actually enjoy. If you're finally ready to stop going from diet to diet and begin a comprehensive plan that addresses the psychological, emotional, and spiritual aspects of a healthy life, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the Life Recovery Bible personal size, the 1-year Life Recovery Prayer Devotional, the New Life Journal, a New Life pen and highlighter, and a New Life zipper tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
And we're back. I'm so glad you joined us today. We're doing a special show to just talk more about the issues that women who have experienced betrayal have and what you can do to overcome them. And of course, our Restore Workshop is built all upon that. You know, at the end of our last section, we were just talking about the challenges to feel safe when you've been betrayed. It rocks everything to the core.
Absolutely.
And you begin to wonder about everything. It's not just the...
Who can I trust?
Exactly.
Right, which is normal, right?
Yeah. So, Laura, talk about the essentials of safety. What does that do for somebody who's experienced betrayal?
Well, you know, first of all, we're created to connect, and we need to connect in a safe place in order to grow. So in order to heal, we've got to have safety measures in place, that it's going to be safe enough for me to tell you about my despicable things, about my horrid things, memories, what happened to me. Because what shame does when it's kept in isolation, it keeps us, we get a internal monologue going on, and it keeps us hiding in our heart. And whatever we hide, we'll hold hostage, right? So when we have that safe group that we can come as we are, that's what grace is. Come as you are. I'll love you where you are. And we take that in, then we can begin to stand up. We can accept. We have other eyes who are loving us, and we can accept ourselves and then have the courage to move forward. But apart from that, shame will bind us.
Yeah, and you know, so isn't it interesting that so many women who've been betrayed experience shame even though they weren't the one that betrayed? What is that about?
Well, you're carrying the shame.
Yeah.
And it's irrational, but that's what trauma does.
Right.
And that's what our brains do, is store irrational beliefs like it was my fault or I wasn't enough.
And they're told that. Well-meaning people trying to help tell them that.
Right. And trauma tells us that as we go through life too. So in a lot of different ways it's fed into our belief system.
And it's a belief that was even starting to create before they ever got into the betrayal relationship that they didn't even know was there.
Right.
That's right.
It gets tapped into. You know, earlier when we were listening to Diane's call and her husband's willingness to go to Every Man's Battle, and I know, Laura, that's been part of your story.
Yes,
And so what was different when your husband came back from Every Man's Battle?
Oh, my gosh. Every Man's Battle is amazing. You have a band of brothers who, it's a no judgment zone, because these men, even though their behaviors are, you know, people see it as despicable, shame is driving and perpetuating that behavior. And when they can get with other brothers to accept them as they are and still love them after they tell their horrid stories, that begins to dismantle that shame to where they can begin to take responsibility and then to begin the healing process.
Right.
But what often people do in their willpower and their desires are legit, but they don't have the bandwidth of carrying through. We need to get in there and lance that wound, so to speak.
And I think so many women run into the fact that the husbands will do the very minimal in order to keep forward. And, you know, that doesn't always work.
Or they'll really be genuine going, okay, I mean it. I really mean it. I'm not going to do this anymore. And they mean it. But they don't have the bandwidth to heal.
Right.
And so a lot of really sweet women say, oh, okay, let me give him another chance.
Right, because we want it to be over.
Sure, and they want to believe that.
Yeah.
So we got another conversation that we had. We talked to Jean. Her marriage didn't last after this, but there's a reason for that. So let's listen to Jean's call.
I'm talking to Jean, and Jean has been to Restore. And Jean, tell us, what were the circumstances that led you to go to that Restore workshop that you attended?
Steve, I became aware that my husband had had an affair. He had been going to strip clubs. He was paying large sums of money for women to send him pornographic pictures, and he was viewing porn on the computer to satisfy himself. And we're both Christians, and I had no idea that this was going on. I was shocked. I was hurt. I was upset, and I really did not know what to do or where to turn.
Well, tell us what it was like when you went to the workshop.
The workshop was probably the most valuable thing that I did, because I have been a Christian since junior high school, and I was totally unaware of anything like sex addiction even existed. So the workshop educated me about what sex addiction was, how the brain pathways change. It also gave me courage. I could learn how to use my voice to confront my husband rather than enable him. I learned how to stand up for myself and ask for help rather than blaming God for not fixing it.
Right. So what's life like today? I mean, he didn't get better, but how are you?
Well, you know, the saddest thing about betrayal is that it never comes from your enemies. Betrayal it was like a tsunami that washed over me and washed away the life that I had. So all this was devastating, but through the workshop, the groups that I've been in, the people that I have been associated with New Life, I truly believe my soul has been restored. I love the name Restored because it implies healing. And my wounded heart has begun to heal, and I still have a lot of scar tissue, but it's not with the painful emotions that I used to have.
Yeah. Oh, well, I see life in you where there was death, and it's good to see. What do you say to a woman who's on the fence, doesn't know if she should go or not? What do you say to her?
Without a doubt, it was the most significant thing that I did. And, you know, one of the things the counselor in the group that I was in recommended was to read your book, Healing is a Choice. And that had a profound effect on me. And she also gave us a piece of paper that was copied from the end of your book, the Today I Choose to Heal.
Yes.
And going to the workshop was a choice for me, and I could choose to heal or stay in my misery. And that workshop is where I found the tools and the people that I needed to heal from this most heartbreaking thing of my life.
Well, I'm so glad you did, and you are an amazing woman, making it a day at a time. And I hope someone hearing your story will decide, hey, maybe there's hope and healing for me after this horrible betrayal. Thank you, Jean. God bless you.
Thank you, Steve.
Isn't it amazing that choice changed everything for her? But you know, it's hard when you are not going to stay married to make a choice to continue in that healing process. Why is it critical for a woman to seek help if the marriage isn't going to last? If the husband walks out, shouldn't you just be fine?
If you want to be walking wounded,
there you go.
Because you can't, when trauma happens to you, it happens to you.
Yeah.
And we want to fight it,
Yeah.
especially if we're want to be in control and we're strong and powerful. We don't want trauma to affect us, but it does. And so we have a choice to get bitter or to get better.
That's good. You know, it reminds me of if I were in a car accident and I didn't cause the accident.
Yeah.
And it would be like me saying, I refuse to get help because I did not cause this accident.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of an over the top, but we've had trauma. The molecular structure of our cells has changed. There's, she talked about the scar tissue.
Yes.
The scar, yeah.
But don't you think, Laura, part of the process is getting angry that it
anger.
happened to us? I mean, like, you know, that person hit me.
Yes.
And I'm angry about it. Absolutely, you're angry about it.
Listen, God gave us anger. We didn't create that.
That's right.
Anger is to protect what was taken, to have enough moxie to take back what was taken, or to stand up to say no.
And then, you know, and then that whole process of being angry, you can get into a defense mode that says, I'm not doing anything because he did this.
Yes.
That's when your anger becomes sick.
Yes, you get stymied in it.
Yes, it's justifiable resentment. You know, Steve talks about that all the time. It makes sense that you would be mad, and why should I have to do anything? But what about the other side of that anger?
Oh, the other side of that anger. I mean, you know, there's
New
sadness.
birth.
There's sadness on the other side, but
There
the
is
other
sad.
side of anger, once we get through all the grief, is freedom.
Yes.
It will not control you anymore.
Right.
You can go
We
forward
won't be
into
at the
life.
mercy.
Right.
We're not at the mercy.
And you were talking about having, you know, if your marriage doesn't make it, if you don't choose to carry it, you're never going to trust again. Anybody, not just men, but women either.
And then, you know, just like in any great loss, your life becomes defined about the loss.
That's right.
As opposed to the other
The
side.
post story.
The post story.
And
the resurrection story.
My post story is so great. I can't even imagine
We can
letting
attest to that.
defining me. Yeah.
Right.
That's not what I'm known for today.
You know, so if this is part of your challenge to seeking help, listen. There is hope.
Yeah.
There is a new life. You don't have to stay in that bitter, resentful, hurt, wounded place. We get it. We understand it's painful. Make the choice today to move forward. We'll be right back after this break.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We have done our very best today to express how important the Restore Workshop could be for you if betrayal is part of your story. We tried to encourage you and kind of talk to you about some of the obstacles that can get in your way, also about what you can expect when you go there. And you're going to be in good hands, and it's going to make a big difference. But you don't need to hear it from me. Let's hear from someone who actually went and what her experience was like. Let's hear from Donna.
I attended the Restore Conference this weekend in Irvine, California.
How was it?
It was amazing. I was calling with gratitude. I have been married for like 23 years. I'm going through a divorce. You know, my husband's seeing another woman. He's a minister. You know, he's seeing a woman who lives around the corner from the church. I needed you guys so badly. I'm in an emotionally, verbally, and financially abusive relationship, and you guys made it possible for me to go. I'm so eternally grateful. I was one of the ones at the conference that actually spoke about my experience, and if you would mind, I would like to read it to you, what I wrote for you guys in gratitude.
Okay.
Okay, it says, I'm eternally grateful to New Life Ministries for making it possible for me to attend the Restore Conference. This is exactly what I needed to help me in my divorce situation. I'm thankful to all the beautiful women who took part in this event. I have a renewed vision of who I am and whose I am. I am smart enough. I am good enough. I am enough. I realize that what my husband did is not my fault. I'm grateful to Barbara Schoen and all my sisters in my group. May we continue to be lifelong friends after the Restore Conference. The Restore Conference, Irvine, California, was the best. I've grown so much, and I've learned so much this weekend. Thank you, New Life, for meeting my needs when I was at such a low point in my life. I've been renewed, refreshed, and restored.
All right. Donna, thank you for that.
Wow.
Hey, that could be you. You could sign up now. Don't wait.
You know, I'm looking at Laura and Stacey. They both have tears in their eyes, and they're just so joy-filled because you've been there. Stacey, tell me what you're feeling right now.
We know that's what can happen.
Yes.
And, you know, you want to just pull everybody there by their toenails, but so many people resist going. And it's like, she was abused, but did she sound like it? No, that wasn't fake. That wasn't spiritualizing. That was real transformation because she got empowered by being understood and loved by other women and being in connection with other women. And that's the result that Restore will get you.
That's the power of group.
Absolutely.
The power of a safe place to be who you are, say what's happened, and let other sisters love you.
Yeah. You know, she was talking about I am enough. Okay, so, you know, we do a practice there. And, you know, because we believe a lot of lies.
That's right.
And we live by those lies that we believe. And so what we do at Restore, we disrupt a lot of lies.
We dismantle those lies.
Yeah. And what are some of the lies that people believe or women believe about themselves? Laura, what?
You know, I think one of the lies that women get stuck in with related to Scripture is, I need to forgive. And so they don't allow themselves we need the anger to begin to dismantle the lies, right? We need the anger to go, no, I am enough. It is okay. I was violated. I was betrayed. Jesus showed us how he responded to people who violate and betray, right? And to set those limits. But here's the thing. We cannot, I'll say it a million more times, we cannot do this alone. We need to hear our sisters' voices, and we need the therapist to explain the neurological, biological, physical, spiritual, all of the other aspects that go into trauma. But when we take that in, and then their voice becomes our voice.
That's so true.
And we can stand up, because we cannot set those limits unless we have those sisters.
And we're quick to forgive because we are told to forgive,
Right.
but we don't feel.
Forgive means
That's
forgive means I can release you, but it doesn't mean I've worked through the issue. Right?
Another one of those beliefs that I've never worked with a betrayed spouse that doesn't believe I'm stupid.
Oh.
You know,
Yeah,
I should have known
better.
I should have known better.
Yeah.
Right.
And when you sit in groups and you go, oh, you didn't know, and you didn't know, and
We
or
come
you
together.
knew and you didn't pay attention to it,
Right.
all of a sudden that belief starts coming into, I can learn from it, or I did the best
Well,
I
we
could.
bring it into the light where it
That's
loses
right.
its power, right? Because what we isolate is in darkness, and it holds us hostage.
Yeah.
But when we go, oh my gosh, y'all are here too?
Well, and one of the things that we learn is that we don't recognize the lies and the beliefs and the vows that we live by.
No.
It just becomes part of our DNA.
Until we bring them in the light.
Until we bring
then
them
they
in
lose their power.
And I think one of the most powerful things that I've ever, because I've led these groups as well, I remember one group in particular, they're going around, they're sharing their story, and a woman shared her story, and she gasped after she told her story. And we all went, well, why did you gasp? She goes, I just realized this is the first time I have said this out loud. And because they had been doing work for him, but nobody was asking her what she needed and what was her side of the street, you know? And I just think if you're listening today and betrayal has been part of your experience, whether it is in your marriage, or maybe even the marriage is already over, it could also be that your father was a betrayer, that you lived in a home where it was not safe. There are lots of ways.
Or people didn't show you how, your parents didn't show you how to stand up and say no.
Yes.
That's right.
Don't be a sweet little, you'll be a sweet little Christian.
Yeah, right. And so if this is part of your experience, you need help.
Yeah.
And it's not because you didn't figure it all out.
No.
We weren't made to figure it all out.
We're all on this
Who
journey
has
together.
an education on this stuff?
Right. And even when we do, that doesn't mean we don't, we're human.
That's right.
I
I fall
think-
into those traps easily.
So, when you think about the women who have gone to restore, and I know you guys know plenty of them, the after story. What are some of the things that you have celebrated with women who have gone through the process?
Oh, I'll tell you, the 12th step of the 12 steps is carrying the message to others. And I'll get teary again when I start talking about these women who come back to me and go, I want to give back. I want to start leading a group at my church, or I want to shepherd another couple, or I want to support someone, or I want to give money.
Yes.
And it's like, and they'll look at me, and I'm not saying this for anybody new, but for people who've been in it a while, say, I'm so thankful that this caused me to dig deep and do my real work.
Yeah, right.
Because I didn't know all this stuff was really bugging me. But I had family of origin issues that I really needed to deal with.
We don't know that until trauma hits and breaks that bedrock inside of us. Because until
That's
we're
right.
kind of shattered, we don't know what's under there.
So it turns out being a gift for us because we feel free. We're not
Right.
kind of hiding and running from our stuff anymore.
Right.
Well, God turns pain into a purpose. Right? When we bring it in the light, we let him turn pain into a purpose, and it's work, but we will never come up short if we will show up and ask for help.
And if you do show up, that's the thing. Is
Show
the
up.
showing
That's the
up
key
part.
word. Right. Right.
And that's all you have to do. You don't have to figure it out.
Right.
Just show up.
Right.
And there's no let's just say, can I say this? There's no excuse for that. There's no excuse that could justify not getting help because you need to get help.
Do you know one of the saddest things, I've said this a couple of times on the radio before, the saddest things that I hear are people who have lived this way for 20, 30, 40 years.
Absolutely.
And we heard a caller who once, she said, the initial betrayal from her first marriage, then all the way to 71, she's still feeling that pain because it never got addressed.
Feelings are time travelers. We don't move on from what we haven't moved through. Something that happened 50 years ago is just as alive as back then until we bring it in the light, begin to dismantle that.
I have one woman in my sustained healing group who talks to her grandchildren about her recovery.
Mm.
And I'm thinking, what a
Praise God.
foundation
Yes.
you are laying to change what's happened in the generations previous.
Yes.
And now those grandchildren go to her and ask her all kinds of questions about guys they're dating and their children and what to do. She is changing generations well into her 70s.
She's saying that being a Christian doesn't exempt us from pain, right?
Right.
But here's how we respond when it happens.
Well, we are so glad that you have joined us today. And if there's something that we've said today that wants to push you to restore, we will see you there.
Yes,
Thanks for
we'll give you a
listening.
big...
We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.